Hello everyone, we're coming to you live from Silicon Slopes here in Salt Lake City. I'm your host, Jack Cassel, and joining me today is the Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer of Avetta, Indy Chakrabarti. Indy, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So for those that don't know Avetta, can you start with a little background on the company and what you do?
Yeah, so Avetta, we've been in business about 20 years, and we're the largest supply chain risk management software company in the world. So what that means, that's a lot to say, but basically we have a network where clients who are looking to hire suppliers can come together on that platform and make sure that those suppliers have the right qualifications to be able to service those clients. And there's about 125,000 suppliers in that network, 500 clients, and actually 1.5 million workers, all part of that global platform.
Okay. That's very exciting right now, especially given some of the macro headwinds and geopolitical stage we're on. A lot of the conversation and themes around Silicon Slopes is the community and leveraging the community to bring change in the world. How does that really relate to Avetta and the role you play for your customers?
Sure, could not be a better fit, that theme, relative to what Avetta does, because we are a global community for suppliers and clients to come together. And so what happens in our system is there's basically this standard, the gold standard best practices for what suppliers need to do to be part of a client's network. And so that spans across things like their safety standards, their labor practices, sustainability, CO2 emissions, all these sorts of things that we want to do in this world today to kind of change our planet are happening inside of our system.
Okay. And can you tell us a bit about the ethics and principles that guide the business?
Yeah, for us, that's an absolute foundation pillar. So often we say things like, customers come first or employees come first. And honestly, I think you got to say principles come first, because if you don't have that right, then how are you going to get the best employees? How are you going to keep your clients over time? And ultimately, our product also embodies that same idea, because our product is a little unique in terms of what you think about software. We don't typically think about software as a place for ethics to be managed. But in a sense, we are a ethics management platform, because clients are saying, here is what we want of you as a supplier to work for us. And that capability, ultimately, that's a kind of ethics that you're encoding into a set of requirements and pushing out through our platform, and suppliers are proving that yes, we do this, and that's why we're qualified to work for you.
Okay. And tell us a bit about what's in store for Avetta and kind of the road ahead and where you see things evolving and progressing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we're seeing is this transformation across the planet around this concept of sustainability. And ESG, often it's called, but that initiative of saying, let's make sure that all of us are doing the kinds of things that improve the planet and improve sort of just human interactions amongst ourselves from a corporate perspective. Those are becoming new standards that are still emerging and forming, and people are struggling to understand what it really means for any given business. But a lot of that activity is being encoded in these standards that are within our platform. So maintaining, easiest example is probably CO2 emissions. So if you're saying we want to universally, globally reduce CO2 footprints, the reality is for Western companies, 90% of their CO2 footprint is actually in their supply chain. Because Western companies, if you're a software company like an Avetta, we're not producing a lot of CO2. But we have manufactured goods that we in the West are buying that are coming from suppliers that are outside of the West. And that CO2 footprint then is in our supply chains. And so you have to go to your suppliers and you have to say to your suppliers, not just yourself, you have to say to your suppliers, how are you reducing your CO2 emissions? And that's happening through our platform.
Okay, and so you're solving a real problem, and we talked about the change that's good for the world, and but with that, you've still got to execute on the operations side. So maybe just give us a little insights on how you get there and how you see Avetta executing to that high degree.
Sure. That's definitely a complicated puzzle. It's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to make it happen in practice. But part of what we think helps us are the effects of having scale in the network. So as we've now over the last 20 years grown and we have this large community there, part of what helps us operationally is we're able to establish what the gold standards are for a given industry or for a given trade, and that attracts more people into the network because they know that these are the standards that clients are going to abide by, and so if they want to work for a client, then they need to be here where the standards are. So in that sense, it's a flywheel effect, and operationally that makes things a little easier for us to scale because external providers, our customers, the clients and the suppliers, want to be where there's already the activity.
Yeah, well said. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We're very excited about the story and the change that you are empowering and driving. So,
absolutely. Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.